As the sun dipped below the horizon on Halloween night in 1974, the small, quiet town of Deer Park, Texas, buzzed with the excitement of children dressed in costumes, their laughter echoing through the streets as they prepared for an evening of trick-or-treating. Among them were an 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien and his younger sister Elizabeth, their father Ronald Clark O'Brien, an optician in his mid-30s, accompanied them, guiding them through the neighborhood as they sought out candy. But unbeknownst to the community and his own children, Ronald harbored a dark plan, driven by desperation and an insatiable greed that would shatter the innocence of Halloween forever. Ronald O'Brien's life was marked by financial turmoil. Despite his steady job, he was drowning in debt, struggling to keep his head above water. He had taken out significant loans and fallen behind on payments, and faced the prospect of foreclosure on his house. The weight of his financial burdens grew heavier each day, leading him to contemplate a drastic solution: murdering his own son to collect the life insurance money. In the months leading up to that fateful night, O'Brien had taken out multiple life insurance policies on both of his children. It first started with $20,000 total on both. Then, leading up to the night, he took out an additional $20,000 on each, totaling $60,000. As Halloween approached, his plan began to take shape, shrouded in the guise of a festive holiday. As darkness settled over Deer Park, Ronald O'Brien took Timothy and Elizabeth out for a night of trick-or-treating, joined by their friend who was dressed as a pirate. The group wandered through the neighborhood, collecting candy from neighbors, all of whom had their lights on, eager to partake in the spirit of the season. During their outing, Ronald approached a house where the lights were off, but claimed that someone eventually opened the door and handed him 5 large pixie stick candy tubes. He returned to his children, distributing the candy, oblivious to the sinister plan that had just begun to unfold. Timothy eagerly accepted the candy, not knowing it would be the last treat he ever received. Later that night, as the family settled in for the evening, O'Brien encouraged his children to choose a piece of candy before bed. Timothy, excited and unaware of the danger, selected the pixie stick. He struggled to open it, prompting Ronald to assist him. After Timothy consumed a portion of the candy, he began to complain about a strange taste. Moments later, Timothy's discomfort escalated into intense stomach cramps and violent vomiting. O'Brien rushed his son to the hospital, but Timothy's condition deteriorated rapidly. Within an hour, he was pronounced dead, sending shockwaves through the family and the community. The innocent joy of Halloween was now shattered. In the immediate aftermath of Timothy's death, the Deer Park community was engulfed in fear. Parents began turning over their children's Halloween candy to the police, convinced that a sinister stranger had poisoned their treats. The investigation began, and authorities quickly turned their attention to Ronald O'Brien. Are you enjoying today's story? Smash that subscribe button so you never miss another spine-chilling tale. Let's get back to the video, whose calm demeanor raised suspicions. As investigators delved into the O'Brien's family's life, they uncovered the troubling truth behind Timothy's death. It became clear that Ronald had a motive steeped in financial desperation. Authorities learned about the life insurance policies he had taken out on his children, and their focus sharpened on him as a suspect. When police examined the pixie stick Timothy had consumed, they found it had been laced with a lethal dose of cyanide. The other 4 tubes of candy O'Brien had given out that night were also found to contain the poison. Fortunately, none of the other children had eaten their treats, but the horror was unmistakable. This was no random act of malice. It was a premeditated murder committed by a father against his own son. As evidence mounted against him, Ronald O'Brien's facade of innocence crumbled. Witnesses testified about his inquiries into purchasing cyanide, revealing a man deeply entrenched in a plan to profit from his child's death. His claims of an unknown assailant distributing poison candy fell flat as investigators uncovered the chilling details of his actions. On November 5th, 1974, just days after Timothy's death, Ronald O'Brien was arrested and charged with capital murder. The trial that followed was heavily publicized, capturing the nation's attention as media dubbed him the Candyman. O'Brien maintained his innocence throughout the proceedings, insisting that someone had poisoned the candy he had given to Timothy. Despite his pleas, the evidence against O'Brien was overwhelming. The prosecution laid out a chilling case of premeditation, detailing how Ronald had carefully plotted his son's murder to benefit from the insurance payout. Jurors were shown the life insurance policies, his debts, and the numerous times he had discussed cyanide with his friends and acquaintances. On June 3, 1975, Ronald O'Brien was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death by lethal injection. The jury deliberated for less than an hour before reaching their verdict, horrified by the betrayal of a father who had killed his own child for money. O'Brien's case left a lasting mark on American society, instilling a deep-seated fear of tampered Halloween candy. Despite the fact that incidents of candy tampering were exceedingly rare, parents became increasingly vigilant about inspecting their children's treats. In the years that followed, communities began offering candy X-ray services, and the tradition of checking Halloween candy became the norm. Ronald O'Brien's execution was carried out on March 31st, 1984, in Huntsville, Texas. Crowds gathered outside the prison, some wearing Halloween masks, celebrating the end of the life of a man who had forever tainted the holiday. The story of Ronald O'Brien serves as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind seemingly innocent traditions. His desperate greed and betrayal of trust transformed Halloween from a night of fun and fright into a cautionary tale of parental horror. The urban legend surrounding poison candy became a stark reality, forever altering the way Halloween is celebrated in America. O'Brien's actions not only took the life of his son, but also cast a shadow over a holiday that should be filled with joy and laughter. Timothy O'Brien's tragic tale serves as a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity and the most unexpected threats that can emerge from those we trust the most. Thanks for watching, and happy Halloween.